First game breaks will get you loaded up, put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, 2 games after this win in. Rush it again, here for the first minute. Carry my team there 6 minutes.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
All I know is go Walls, because that's all I know. Go Walls!
Doesn't have to be perfect, ain't gonna be perfect. We go compete for 60 freaking minutes. All right, enjoy the opportunity, enjoy the environment, and then go play our butts off, play for one another, and have a hell of a lot of fun. Everybody got me?
Yes,
all right.
Well, I mean, obviously, we've spent, 4 years, trying to change the culture, trying to instill in these young men how blessed they are, to have an opportunity to play somewhere like the University of Tennessee, and what an honor it is to have that T on the side of your helmet, and that we're always playing for something bigger than us individually.
But you know what? Let's talk a little Vols. That is not me trying to take any shine away from the phenomenal channel Talkin VAWLS and my guy Boogie Bentley runs. So shout out to them. But let's talk a little Vols here.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. The boys are all here. We're going to get you through this somehow, some way. I know y'all are pissed. Y'all are angry. Y'all are mad. Y'all are heartbroken. Some people are ready to fire coaches. Some people are done watching Tennessee. You're not going to watch another game the rest of the year, and that's your decision. Look, you can feel how you feel. I don't want to have to lecture anybody right out of the gate, but I'm going to lecture some people right out of the gate. Look, feel how you want to feel. If you're mad, if you want to fire Tim Banks, that's great. Voice it in the chat. You want to fire Josh Heupel? That's great. Voice it in the chat. If somebody disagrees with you, just let them disagree with you. I have one simple rule around here, and that's keep it simple, stupid. You want to disagree with somebody, disagree with somebody. You're going to go after me. You're going to go after Coach Jay. You're going to go after Dauber. You're going to go after Dustin because we disagree with you. I would encourage you just to go somewhere else and find something else to do. We're going to voice our opinions the same way as you guys are. That's it. And I don't think anybody in this chat, I don't think anybody on this panel is happy coming on here to do a post-game show after a loss. It is what it is. We didn't go down there to try to compete. We didn't go down there to try to keep it close. We didn't go down there like Brent Hubbs said on Friday morning. We didn't go down there to try to stay healthy. We went down there to play. We went down there to beat Alabama, and we got punched in the mouth, and we lost. And the frustrating thing for me, and I know people are pissed at the defense because they didn't finish the game, but at times the defense played good enough to win this game. They didn't play complimentary football. We talked all week long that you have to play complimentary football. That's offensively, that's defensively. When the offense was cooking, the defense wasn't. When the defense was cooking, the offense wasn't. And you can't go down to Alabama and win when you do that. Again, disagree, agree. You guys have freedom to say whatever you want in the chat. Just keep it simple, stupid. Do us a favor. smash the thumbs up. We would appreciate it. Share out the link. We would appreciate that as well. I'm going to catch up with you guys in some super chats first because a lot of you guys were dropping super chats during the game. I'm going to catch up with you guys. I'm going to get the opening thoughts from Coach Jay and the boys, and then we're going to get through this thing together. Seth Brooks dropped a $50 super chat at 7:55, right as the game was starting. Says it's super early, long game ahead, but I love what you do, Boogie. Really appreciate your channel. Coach Jay, you're awesome. Just some early thoughts. Our third down D has got to be better. I believe we can win this game. I hope I am right, GBO. Well, Seth, I appreciate your kind words. I'm glad you enjoy what we do. This is my least favorite thing that we do. It's not easy because we all of a sudden become in the crosshairs because some people want somebody to be mad at, but that's what we signed up for. Wayne for 20. Boogie, you should ban Whopper. GBO, go first down. GBO first down. Whopper got banned. Don't worry, because it took him about 30 seconds to start personally attacking me. Big Trey for 7. He likes to drop super chats when we score. Backflip Spaghetti for 5 was mad about something. Caleb Bray for 2. Worst tackling team in the SEC, and it's not close. They really faded. They really faded as the game went on. Big Trey for 6. Bama is good. Obviously, props. I hate beating ourselves, though. Fight, fight, fight. Tonto for 2. How about we just never win at Bama again? Cody Tackett became a member. If you're not a member, you can hit the join button. We would appreciate it. Good old Nate is here. Cover charge, Boogie. Howdy, Vols fans. Horrible play calls. Terrible tackling on defense. God bless. And go Vols. Tonto says, why can we never have a fully healthy team? Cletus the Barber Beefcake says, want to hear from Coach A on this, but all I'm seeing is bad technique and poor decisions and not being able to count on defense. We got to do something different. Caleb Ray says, why is Ben Bolton in on the third play of the game in 3rd and 14? We have no back and safety help. Can't remember the last time Tennessee had 2 good safeties. Why can't we recruit, develop at that position? At one point late in the game, you had Ben Bolton, who's a walk-on. You had William Wright, who's a walk-on, all out there on the field trying to make plays against Alabama with the game on the line. Tonto says, I'm so sick. FSU beat them. We about to lose a whole recruiting class transfers. This is what I'm talking about, guys. I love Tonto. He's very supportive of this channel. Let's calm down. I'm not happy. That's an overreaction. We're losing the recruiting class. We're losing transfers. We got a lot of football left to play. Tonto says, I'm convinced God hates UT. Good old Nate Pruitt for 5 says, no, sir. Jesus was the first volunteer. Y'all arguing in super chat form. Big Trey for 7. It ain't over till it's over. Now, unfortunately, it is over. Tonto says, is this the same official that is a real estate agent in Tuscaloosa? I don't know, but once again, penalties lopsided. Sidney Walton, Ben Bolton will write in the same time in the 4th quarter. I'm sorry, but 8-4, maybe 9-3. Hard to watch games when we shoot ourselves in the foot. Tonto says, I'm tired of living. Rough day for Tonto. Matthew Watson says, Coach A was right before the season. This is what happens when you don't tackle in practice. I've set the record straight on that multiple times. Tennessee does tackle in practice. There was one practice where they didn't before a scrimmage because they were beat up. They do tackle in practice. Tonto says, fire Ty Simpson's dad. He also says, recruits and Adidas going to kick us to the curb. Good old Nate Pruitt says, bad loss tonight. However, I'm still a Vol. Piss poor show tonight. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Best be glad I'm not the head coach. Someone needs to put it on trial for this. God bless and go Vols. Zachary Elliott says this team is an absolute joke. Stupid play before the half. Should have ran the ball up the middle. But no, Tennessee is doing Tennessee things like always. But I guess if there's a positive, we might get to go to the Tax Slayer Bowl. Jacob Myers says, I was born in 1990 and have been glued to the TV every Saturday as far back as I can remember. I've seen the good and the bad. I love Coach Hyatt, but have to be better coached all the way around. That's a level-headed comment there, Jacob. Thank you for the super chat. Tonto for 5. Whoever traveled to Bama, I'd go to prompt care ASAP and make sure you didn't catch any diseases. Frosty Zay became a member of the channel. Shout out, Frosty Zay. We appreciate you. Matthew Watson says, starting a GoFundMe for Banks' buyout. Robert Tuck says the pick 6 killed us. Yes, that was a dagger. JG80 says we suck. Won't win a game the rest of the season. We'll lose our bowl game to Louisiana Monroe.
Lord.
I told you guys. At least I'm not insulted yet. Stay tuned. I'm sure there's one coming. Adam Lee for 5. Losing is one thing, but not tackling. Corners on islands and dropping the ball are unacceptable. We're like 134th in drops. Good old Nate Pruitt says, we need therapy, Boogie. I'm here for you. We'll get through it. Frosty Zay for 5-star. Thomas getting his first drive in the 2nd quarter is coaching malpractice. Now, I would almost disagree with that. I thought Deshaun Bishop played well. Louisiana Ball says, can we be honest here? Do we have a James Franklin? Tyler Maxwell, this one hurt, but I'm still Vol till I die. Let's see. Pecan says, GBO, I love my Vols, but I'm a realist. I analyze everything in life. I just wish each team would have gotten one more score for monetary reasons. He's playing that gambling. All right, let me pause super chats. We appreciate the super chats. That's what keeps the lights on around here. We'll come back to you guys, so keep those coming. But we're going to kind of balance this thing. Coach Jay, kick us off. Opening thoughts on the loss against Alabama.
Obviously, really disappointing, right? I think we're all disappointed, and I think you're hearing some of that frustration in the chat, and you guys have a right to be. I know someone already threw out the sunshine pumper comment at me, and I'm going to have some sharp comments, trust me here. But number one, I'd like to be viewed as a sunshine pumper rather than rooting for the Vols to do bad, which I saw a lot of tonight, quite frankly. I see a lot of it in the chat, saw a lot of it on Twitter. And quite frankly, I think it's pathetic. I think it's sad, and it's not the fan base I fell in love with. It doesn't mean you can't be critical. It doesn't mean you can't come at people, but to root for them to choke so you're right is not being a fan, period, full stop. With that said, I'll get into my thoughts. I'm going to totally stay away from offense because I want to leave some meat on the bone for you guys. I will say this, and I'm going to say this before I get into what I have to say. 9 + 7 is 15. What was the final score of that game, Boogie?
37.
Yes, sir.
Okay. With that said, I've had some problems with Tim Banks this year, obviously, right? And ask Boogie, ask anyone on here. I have been very much on the do not fire Tim Banks train. Correct, guys? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have not blown that whistle, even though I've had concerns. Tonight was the first night I honestly felt like we might need to look somewhere else. And I think it's important that, I say it from a place of being calm, not from a place of angry. 9 play, 99 yards or drives are unacceptable. A soft scheme, road game after road game after road game after road game is unacceptable. Everyone asks how I feel about tackling. You hear those of you who watch the breakdown series, you know the saying, ass down, knees to nuts, head of a ball, head up, bring your arms with you, wrap up, right? This is all you see from this defense.
Mm-hmm.
Shoulder.
Throw my shoulder at you. Yep.
Not bringing your arms with you. What position group on defense does Tim Banks coach? Can someone help me?
That'd be the safeties.
What's far and away the worst position group on this team?
Let me ask you a question, though. God, we're getting too far in the mud before opening statements. But
Sorry, my
bad.
I just kind of wanted to make an overarching point that it's not like I'm scorched earth. I think we need to fire him tomorrow, but I do think we need to seriously look inward after this season at some things we're doing on defense.
My point is,
I can leave it at that. I can leave it at that. We can get into it.
If you remember to bring it back, because I want to talk about that, because it's not obviously it's from an X's and O's standpoint. It's a problem in recruiting. It's a problem. You missed on Shady Hayward. You missed on Onus Conanbanny, and now your best option is either a walk-on or a true freshman. That's a problem, but it's in recruiting. And the question is it an overall decision by Josh Heupel to spend the money on edge rushers, to spend the money elsewhere, and safety's kind of that last position, or is it just flat out on Tim Banks? He didn't get the job done recruiting. We can revisit that conversation because I think it's worth talking about, because safety is the weakness of this defense. I think everybody knows that. Dauber, opening thoughts on the loss to Alabama.
Okay, so I'm going to pump the brakes on everybody right here.
Wait. You're the third person to talk and the third person to do this. What's happening?
Everybody pump the brakes right here. Where did we have this team? Where did everybody have this team going?
2-11, 9-3 is where I had them.
Dauber's taking strays for me. Thank you, Dauber. You taking strays for me. Preach, brother. Preach.
Not 9-3. 10-2
is where I had them.
10-2. Can I get a 10?
I upgraded them to 10-2, and I think they can still get there. I think they can still get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot to unpack from this game tonight. a whole lot. You know, we gave them 9 points tonight.
Yeah.
Pick six in the safety. Okay. We did not tackle well. There was bad play calling, offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, special teams. We didn't win that. We're missing Mike Eckler. We are missing Mike Eckler. I will say that right now, and I will say that until the cows come home. But you know, first thoughts out the game. Ty Simpson played well. I figured he would pick us apart because our lack of, you know, players, bodies, experience in the secondary. I really hoped our defense was going to show up. Our secondary was going to play well. I hoped that our defensive front was going to get the pressure. They didn't. Listen, my brother-in-law was here tonight watching the game with me. He's a Bama fan. So it was tough. It was tough for me to sit here and watch this game. And you know, we came up short in so many areas. A lot of penalties, miscues that took us, you know, behind the chains on down and distance. Something we've talked about all season. This team getting to third and long and giving up a first down. How many times did that happen tonight? So there's so much to unpack here tonight. But I do think moving forward, I think this team can win out. I know. I mean, you saw earlier today, Vandy. I think Vandy is a tougher team than we anticipated at the beginning of the season. I think that's going to be a tough game. But I think if this team plays to their potential, if these coaches coach to their potential, and everything lines up, I think we can beat Vandy. I think we can beat Kentucky. I think Oklahoma is going to be tough at Tennessee. But I think 10-2 is realistic. And I think you're still looking at getting help to get into the playoffs. But that's where we were last year. Be realistic. Look at where this team was, you know, when Heupel took over, and look at where we are right now. Yes, there are deficiencies. Yes, there are things we need to correct. But we are trending in a way better direction than we were with previous coaching regimes. And
Here's the reality. Tennessee is going to be favored in every game the rest of the way. Period.
Yes.
They're going to be favored against Kentucky on the road. They're going to be favored when Oklahoma comes to town. They're going to be favored against Florida in the swamp. They're going to be favored in every game the rest of the way. So what does that tell me? They can win those games. Now, can they lose them? Yes, they can lose. They can lose to Kentucky. They can lose to Kentucky coming up next weekend.
Almost beat Texas.
They can
Almost
lose.
Overtime game today
they can lose
at Lexington.
They can lose to Oklahoma. They can lose to Vanderbilt. Of course they can. That's why you got to go play the damn football games. But the bottom line is everything is still in front of you. And I get it. Some people don't want to hear that because we just lost to Alabama and you're emotional. You're reacting. You're pissed off. You're angry. Everything is way worse than it seems.
And
right?
that's why I said pump the brakes.
Why are you yelling at me? I agree with you. I'm reiterating your point. Dustin, get in here, man. Opening thoughts on the game against Alabama.
Yeah, you talked a lot about what we're capable of, and I keep waiting on that. We haven't seen that this year so far. I think you're right. This team is capable of much, much more, but damned if we can't get out of our own way. If you look at the stats of this game, and I know stats don't win ball games, but every damn thing across the board is pretty even, or we had better stats than them. It's piss poor tackling at the worst times. It's turnovers at the worst times. It's the safety. It's all the culmination of those things that keeps us from having gotten through this game and just prevents us from playing winning football because Alabama was way more disciplined. I know there were some calls that probably should have gone our way too. But if you just look at it on paper, man, I mean, it's not like we got blown out. I mean, all of our problems, I think, were self-inflicted tonight. I don't know enough about X's and O's to say play calling was bad. Obviously, the defense looked sluggish. And as far as schemes go, I have no clue. But all they had to do was run it on the edges or throw it to the edges, and we were done for. And that's no surprise.
I think that is the whole story of the game for me, is shooting yourselves in the foot. And you started it early. And you know, I said it at the top of the show. I feel like this defense did play good enough early in the game to win this football game. And your offense shot yourselves in the foot. We're going to come back to that. I want to catch up with you guys in the chat. Fido Production says, jugs. Hashtag breast cancer awareness. Shout out Fido. I appreciate the creativity. Elijah for 20 says everyone needs to shut the F up about Heupel. My God, do y'all remember how we used to be? No other fan base pisses me off more than my own. Go Vol. Someone tell our OC the quick screen game isn't working. Shout out Elijah. I appreciate you, my man. And look, man, Elijah's comment, and I saw somebody in the chat a little bit ago say, we're done talking about what Heupel took over. You're right. I mean, this is year 5, but how many of us said, man, this is going to be a 5-6 year rebuild, right? That first class that Josh Heupel tried to recruit. I mean, you got an NCAA. You didn't just take over a depleted roster. You took over a roster and you had an NCAA investigation hanging over your head, which set back your recruiting a couple of cycles. And look, we're just coming off of a college football playoff. Do we want to be Penn State? Like, do we want to be that? You were a play away from making the college football national championship, and you fire your head coach because it's what have you done for me lately? That's just not the way I work, man. Shout out to freaking James Franklin for going on College Game Day this morning. And I love that Nick Saban sat right there and he's like, you won't call it unfair? It's unfair. Like college football fans are delusional. Like, it's unfair that James Franklin lost his job. Now, he handled it like a class act. He sat up there and said, that wasn't my decision. That was their decision. And I'm grateful for my time at Penn State. I love what Nick Saban said this morning on College Game Day. Swore the Demon for 10 sucks to lose, and I mean really sucks. But honestly, we could have beat them, just bad calls, and we got to execute better. Agreed, Swore the Demon. TJ Hayes becomes a member. Shout out, TJ. We appreciate you, brother. Zachary Elliott for 5. Why can't Tennessee just win? Boogie, we can't get out of our own dang way. You're right. You're right. I mean, that's it. Can't get out of our own way. Jacob Myers says, I think we win if we played at home. But it would have still been close because of poor coaching, too many drops, missed tackles, penalties. I hate the prevent Thawne defense, pinned them on the one and went into it. Went into prevent on the one.
Yeah. I was about to ask for you to show that picture I posted, Boogie, because that's how mad I was. But you don't got to do that. You don't got to do it.
Sit on it, and we can come back to it. We can come back to that. Dim Barnyard Bill says, even if we went out, no path to the playoff, Georgia, Bama, A&M, Ole Miss, Missouri, and even Vandy could be ahead of us. Am I wrong? 4 to 5 SEC teams won't get in. Well, no, you're not wrong. And we talked about that. Me and Kaner talked about that on Locked On Vols. We talked about that on the Tailgate Show. You needed to win this game as a resume builder, right? A win over Alabama versus, even if you go 10-2, you're going to need some help. That's just the reality of the situation. Brain Chapman for 30 months. Remember, 30 months? Well, sometimes you are the windshield. Other times you are the bug. Sean Cross says, can't wait to see a last-second play-action Hail Mary from Heupel. You with the face for 5. Appreciate the super chat. Bookham Dano says, well, that sucked, but still on track to go 10-2. TJ Hayes for 5. The interception killed us, but still wouldn't trade these guys for anyone else. I love the fight. And I know that's BS, and that's almost like, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It doesn't matter. You're going down there to win. But I love that this team didn't quit. Everybody quit at halftime. I quit at halftime. Said the game's over. We're done. Just waiting to go live. And then this team put on more steam when the breaks and the game went against them. The defense goes out, gets a stop. The offense goes down and scores. All of a sudden, it's a 2-score game, and you're right back in it. I love the fight. LeBronson James for 2. I'm out on Ty Redmond after tonight. I'm sorry. But who are you going to play?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you going to play? That's a true freshman. That's all you got. Atomic Gas Man for 2. Boogie Cure for battered Vol syndrome. I don't know that I'm the cure. I just give my opinion, man. That's what I do. Whether people agree, disagree, it's all good. Zachary Elliott says, I love Tennessee and always will. Just tired of losing. Glad you all are here after a loss. It's the hardest thing we do, Zachary. Curtis Say becomes a member. Shout out Curtis. Coach McGee for 20. Well, we lost. Simpson's dad was there. The stickum for the receivers wasn't. Has anyone checked on Cade Klubnik's parents? Rebound practice hard, boys, and rally up. Flying Fortress has been a member for 36 months. Keep your heads up. We are still one field goal away from having one loss. No moral victories, guys. Lots to clean up on both sides. Feel the heartbreak and disappointment, but above all, go Big Orange. Well said. The Blink 1-4, the Blink 14, we played like the Southern Cheeks, Tennessee. Caleb Schultz says, watching last year's highlights, that he was flying around. This year, the D looks lazy AF. We beat ourselves, but I can't beat the refs either. Curtis Say for 10. Coach Jay preaching the gospel tonight. Got to take a long look at Banks. We'll come back to that. Jeff Brooks has been a member for 35 months. UT Pumpkin says we are going to lose to Oklahoma, Florida, and Vandy, going 7-5. Might get to go to the Music City Bowl. We need to make changes this offseason. Steve, do you see the difference? And I love Pumpkin. Obviously,
Everybody panic.
He's been a member for 49 months.
I love it.
I'm saying we could win or
it.
lose. Pumpkin's just like, nope, we're out. We're done. We're losing every game. We might as well not suit up and go play.
I know
Big
the
Trey
feeling.
says, full emoji. I had a lot more to say, but I'm calmer now. This fan base is insane. Support this team and save you your fire for the end of the year. Dim Barnyard Bill says, Jay, you noticed when the show blitz and drop, we got beat.
Yes.
JG5 says Florida will beat us so bad, Vanderbilt will feel bad for us. John Bobinet dropped $1. We appreciate that. All right, we'll come back to the super chats. Keep them coming. We appreciate you guys. We'll hit all of your comments, and then we'll just keep this thing going. Let's go back to what Dustin said, because I think it really was the story of the game for me is shooting yourselves in the foot. And again, I go back to this defense, and call me crazy, call me a sunshine pumper. You can call me whatever you want. The bottom line is I thought this defense played good enough to win this football game. Yes, you can't win giving up 91-yard drive, 99-yard drive, 75-yard drives. Those are heartbreakers. But you gave up that first touchdown drive. Then you forced a punt. Your next defensive stand, you forced a 3-and-out. You gave this offense chances to make plays. And then when you look at it for the offense, the first drive, Dustin, and you get ready to chime in here because you mentioned the miscues as well. First drive, you got a 2nd and 2. What do? False start. Now your completion to Mike Matthews goes for 5 yards. You run Bishop for 1. That should have been a first down. That's enough yardage for a first down, but the false start sets you back. You punt the football. Second drive, you get out there across the 50-yard line, move it to midfield, 17-yard completion. You're down to the Alabama 28. It's like, all right, we're cooking. Braylon Staley was covered up by Mike Matthews. Just didn't. You're not taking care. You're not lining up correctly, right? Ineligible man downfield because Braylon's covered up. Not only do you lose a big gain, but then the 5-yard penalty ends up costing you again. Instead of a 3rd and 1, you got a 3rd and 6. There's a big difference between a 3rd and 1 and a 3rd and 6, and it just went on and on and on. You got called for the offensive pass interference that we've been nailed with ever since Josh Heupel has arrived at Tennessee. If you throw it behind the line of scrimmage, you can block before the ball gets there. Guess what? That ball was not behind the line of scrimmage. You led Brazzell forward. That's what led to the offensive PI. Now, very next play, intentional grounding. That's a safety. When Coach Jay starts talking about the difference in the game, a pick 6 and a safety, those are things that came back to haunt you. And I get it. Obviously the dagger was the mistake right before the half, the pick 6. That was huge. I felt like Alabama went conservative. They took their foot off the gas, and that let Tennessee back in it. So I get we can point to that and say that's the difference in the game, but I also think Alabama plays different if that's a 1-score game at halftime versus them having the lead that they had. But again, self-inflicted wounds and shooting yourself in the foot, Dustin. You can't go to Tuscaloosa and get a win that way.
Yeah, and wasted possession right after the ghost fumble turnover situation that finally had something go our way. We turned right back and went 3-and-out, I think, or close to it. And then when we did have momentum coming out of the second half, we score and then, get 2 pass interference calls on us, lets them push it right down the field. And I think that's overall just this whole conversation in this aspect is what's so frustrating is that you can see a disciplined team like Alabama just stay there stone cold, cool as a cucumber, no matter what happens. I think they had 1 false start all night long. And I don't know if it's just our offensive philosophy or the formations and stuff that we run, or if it's just lack of discipline in itself. But, to see another team basically have the same stats as us or even less than us, and we still don't make the plays when we need to, and that's both on offense and defense, it's just so crucial, and it just adds up as the night goes along. And even from the start, you know, we had good field position on the very first freaking series of the game, and had, like you said, had Ty Simpson almost wrapped up in the end zone, and let him convert. And then here they go. Just could not stop anything all night long. And yeah, it's just those crucial mistakes at crucial moments. And I know that's like coach speak, but you know, I think this is the most glaring showing of that, because like I said, I mean, if you just look at the things on paper, it's like this should have been a much closer game on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think if you haven't looked at it, guys, if before the game we were all to have a conversation, I was like, okay, Bama's going to have 373 total yards. Tennessee's going to have 411. Tennessee's going to pass for 268. Bama's going to pass for 253. We're going to run for 143. They're going to run for 120. We're going to fix the run defense in this game. By the way, tip of the cap to Charlie Gardner. Good defensive Rodney. Sorry, my bad.
Charlie Gardner, great Tennessee running back.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I just see orange names, right? Good position coordinators solve problems, and Rodney Gardner did a good job of playing that this game. He shut it down early, as Dustin remembered some problems on the edge, but I felt like that was on drives where we were kind of already cooked. Yeah, that tells me that there was a lot of gunshots aimed at the feet, and there was a lot of things that, you know, you missed on. It's just too bad, man. I feel you can execute better. Yeah, go ahead.
And it's like I feel like that even we know that the edges are weak for
problematic.
Us. Yep. Yeah, but there's guys there to make the play. There's guys there to make the play, but it's a slight little move and one little thing, and then the next person after that misses the damn tackle, and they're going, you know, what should have been a 2 or 3, 4 yard game, they're going 10, 11 and converting like right there. I think I saw that, you know, multiple times tonight, and I don't know. Yeah, somebody mentioned earlier, Boot Carter looks lackluster. He's got picked on all night long. I think he's a great athlete, but something's just not quite clicking. I don't know if it's just he's caught out of position over and over and over again, or what. But yeah, it's just all these things adding up, and I think that's what's most frustrating is because, you know, had we not had the safety and the pick six before the end of the half was brutal. That reminded me of freaking Garantano. At another Alabama game we're trying to forget. But, you know, this is a much closer game. Those two things right there, let alone the other 25 that we've just mentioned. But you just can't do that. And we said we had to play a clean game before this. The freaking tackling. I sat there and watched spring practice clips all spring long of them hitting that dummy and wrapping up and rolling over. And not a single player did that tonight unless you were on the D-line.
No, one thing I want to piggyback on with Coach Jay, and then you can jump in there, Dauber, was looking at the stats right across the board. It's like looks like a pretty dang even game when you look at the numbers, and that's why I go back to the defense playing good enough to win the game. If I told you that halfway through the third quarter, this is what the drive chart was going to look like: Alabama has a touchdown, a punt, a 3-and-out and a punt, another touchdown, a punt, and a fumble recovered by Tennessee. If I told you those were the first 6 drives, that Alabama had 2 touchdowns and they also had a fumble lost, you're thinking Tennessee is very much in this ball game and not the score that we're looking at. But again, that just goes back to the back-breaking moment of the pick six. It's just such a huge moment in this ball game. I cut you off. Go ahead, Dauber.
No, I'm just going to say I'm not making excuses. That there were poor play calling on both sides of the ball. You had multiple officiating calls both sides of the ball. You know, if we don't get the offensive pass interference that was ticky-tack, versus the defensive pass interference that was ticky-tack. You know, if those are flip-flopped and there are no calls on both of them, that's a different story. You know, it's hard to go on the road and play a top 10 team and also play the officials. Listen, I'm not making excuses. There was poor execution, both sides of the ball. You know, the safety on the line, on Joey, on all of that, and then, you know, results in 2 points. Then you have the pick six before the half. You had multiple things that just don't go your way, but you have to, as a good team, and what we've seen the last couple of weeks, a good team finds their way to go through those things. We just couldn't navigate that tonight. We couldn't get out of our own way. We couldn't make tackles. It was just a culmination of anything and everything that could go wrong. And you know, you said it earlier, Boogie. Could we win 2 or 3 more games this year? Could we lose 2 or 3 more games in the same way? You know, if we don't correct some more things, if we don't finish plays, if we don't have better coaching, because you can't just throw your shoulder at somebody. You do have to wrap them up. You can't do things on offense that we did tonight. You can't do things on defense. And I said earlier, we miss Mike Eckler. We miss Eckler on special teams. And I think that is something glaring that maybe some people aren't noticing. But I think we have lost special teams battle multiple games this year. And it is 3 phases of the game. It is offense, defense, and special teams. And tonight, you know, we down them inside the 1 and let them. That was a 99-yard drive. So the special teams won right there, but then the defense failed. And Boogie, you said it. Complementary football that was not played tonight. When the offense was clicking, the defense wasn't. When the special teams clicked, you know, the offense wouldn't. You know, it was every time we tried to find an answer, you know, somebody let us down. So it's that has to be corrected because we've got games on the road against teams that, you know, on paper we should walk all over Kentucky.
I want to come back to something real quick because I mentioned it, Dustin mentioned it, Dauber mentioned it, and everybody in the chat mentioned it, and then LeBronson James for 2 says it's bad tackling due to a lack of effort or coaching. Coach, jump in and talk about that because I know you're frustrated with the tackling. It's got to be coaching. It has to be coaching.
It's the majority of it's coaching, like 80-20, I would say. I don't want to take it all off the players because you have to go out there and execute. But listen, I'll bring up a play really quick. There was a double pass play that Alabama attempted in that game. And just the attitude of this defense is that of, I don't want to say the word, is soft. I'll just say that. I'm not going to say the word I want to use. I'll say soft. And when you breed a soft attitude as a defensive guy, it's like drinking poison, man. You got to drink fire as a defender. You got to be attacking. That's why when Tim Banks has been successful in the past, he's been attacking. And you got to be who you are. It's soft. And it goes beyond being soft on the 9-play, 99-yard drive. Let's go to that first defensive drive. When Alabama starts on the 9-yard line, Eason breaks through the middle. We bring 3 rushers. 3. and everyone else is back in coverage, right? It's just, let's play soft, let's play back, and when we do blitz, I got a good idea. Let's run a delayed blitz, right? Let's give them all the space in the world, wait, and then vacate with our linebacker. That sounds like a wonderful idea. Like, it's just that whole defense's attitude and demeanor, and tackling is a lot about form, because you hear me yell my little slogan all the time, and I beat it into my people. And it's as much about form as anything, but tackling's also about attitude, and defense is about attitude, and they're not sharp. It's like they've lost that eye of the tiger, man. And I want them to get it back, because I think there's a ton of talent on this defense. I don't think it's a talent issue.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. Maybe with like certain players, I'm not going to call anyone out right now, with certain ones, and I think they're a small handful, but a lot of it's just that general effort and demeanor, and that willingness to live every day hard. Like, I don't think Boo's playing hard. Does anyone here think Boo Carter's playing his hardest right now for Tennessee?
I think it really stands out when he doesn't make a play. You see the almost like the shoulder shrug, like almost like, I don't care that I just got beat. Like last week, the blown assignment that he had was awful, and then afterwards, it's kind of.
But I
like,
want it to mean everything. I want when you beat you to fire off the ball. I want when you beat to go back the next play, put your head down, and make a play for this dang university.
Yeah.
I don't want you to shrug your damn shoulders and hope Dion likes me next year.
End of the game, it's over. And there's people in the game chat saying, Boogie, go live, the game's over. And I'm like, we'll go live when the game's over. It's over. It's over. I want everybody to be like Peyton Lewis. Peyton Lewis is pissed.
Yeah. Oh,
because there's 1 second left on the clock, and he wants to run a play and punch in the end zone. That's the type of mindset I want. That's the attitude that I want. And I get it, because nobody wants a moral victory. But that's why I love the way that this team responded in the third quarter, and I love the way that they fight down the stretch, because that's what you need. That's the type of dudes that you need to go win football games. And it's easy to sell them out and say, oh, I'm done. Screw this team. I'm not going to watch. I'm out. You'll be right here next Saturday watching Tennessee play again, because that's what we do. And I would much rather watch a player like Peyton Lewis that wants to lay it on the line than I would Boo Carter going, I got beat again. He's gone. He's gone after this year. I'm sick. Coach, you broke the dam last week when you said it. And I'm just going to freaking open up the water. He's done. He is done. He will not play here again. It's over. This is it. This is the final straw. He is done at the University of Tennessee. The end.
I agree. I just, like I said, I just don't get when we got off the attacking mentality on defense. I don't. I don't understand it, and that's why I want to look inward. But I also don't want to quit, right? There's a lot of football in front of us, guys. I don't want to quit. Like sitting there throwing up your hands and going, oh, well, we're 8-4. Screw it. No. I hope they come back and shut all you guys up that are saying that. I hope they go out there and stick their dang foot up your ass. Excuse my language, Boogie. Because I don't want to root for Tennessee to lose. I want to root for them to win. So I hope they go up there. I hope they step it up. I'm going to root for this team no matter what, and try to move forward no matter what. And if you don't want to do that, then go to San Francisco and root for the Giants. I don't know what to tell you.
Let me catch back up with the chat real quick. Joel Certain, been a member for 48 months. Who's J-Man? Is he talking to Coach Jay only? J-Man, this hurts, but it's not the end of the world. I'm a Vol fan until I die. Ain't nothing going to change it. Can't wait to get back to the Big Orange Palace for Oklahoma with my dad. GBO, it's Kentucky Hate Week. Thank you, Joel. Corey O for 5. The most annoying thing this year is the lack of synergy with this team. D gets a stop. O goes 3 and out. Same opposite way. We can't help each other out. That is such a huge key, and has been all year long. We're not playing complimentary football. Cletus for 5 says, good news, we can win out. Bad news, it'll be a war every game, the way we shoot ourselves in the foot. But guess what? That's also the SEC. It's the SEC. It's a war every game. Chris Lee says, Boo Carter does not want to be on this team. MD Vol says, I'm still all Vol. Tonight we missed a lot of opportunities. This one really hurts. It does really hurt because we're this close, guys. We are this close to being elite. That's why it hurts. That's why everybody's so emotional. That's why everybody's so mad, is because we're this close to being an elite football team. And we're trying to take that next step. And when you guys see that not happening, when the defense is letting you down or the offense is letting you down, you want somebody to blame and you want to fire. I've seen fire Joey Halsley tonight. This offense is leading the nation in scoring, and you want to fire Joey Halsley? And I get it. Tim Banks has struggled this year. This defense has struggled this year. And Coach Jay, guess what? I can disagree with him. If he's starting to look around and saying, I'm not sure if Tim Banks is going to be the guy, I'm going to say maybe we need to give Banks more time to get it right. And guess what? I did the same thing to Butch Jones. I was the last idiot saying we're going to give it a 63 effort. That's what I do. And I hope you guys can just disagree with me, and that's fine. That's what we do around here. You see, Coach Jay ain't cussing me out. You see, Coach Jay ain't going for the lecture boogie. That's how grown adults disagree. M30Z. Wait, what? M3ZO. Member for 25 months. We appreciate the support. John Bobinet for 5. That pick 6 and safety was 9 points. If we didn't give those points to them, we actually would have been down by 8 points. True. It's
why I led with what I said before what I said about Tim, because as a defensive coordinator, I know all too well getting put in a bad hole by your offense at times. Trust me, I've been through some rough things, and I think it's important to acknowledge both things.
But I think I also
true. Yeah, go ahead.
I just also have to say, I think it's a different game in multiple facets. If Tennessee punches it in right there, doesn't give up the pick 6, because I really truly thought, man, when Tennessee came out and got the 3 and out, and then went right down the field and scored, I'm like, I hope Alabama stays conservative. When they kept trying to run the football, I'm like, you're playing right into we're stopping the run against Alabama. But then just the dam broke. Tasty. Wait, no. To John, I got John. Tasty Videos for 5. Here's the thing. It is getting damn near impossible to buy a ticket to a game. We need players, not expensive hotels. Johnny Price for 5. Have to do whatever it takes to improve secondary, make defensive players do nothing but practice open field tackles all week. Got to be better. I agree. Flyfish says Vols never had a lead in this game. I don't want to hear about how it was just a couple of plays. Bama coaches would have just adjusted to it. That's kind of what I just said, Flyfish. I agree. I agree with that. It would have been a different game plan on both sides of the ball. That's a very fair statement. I agree. Johnny for 2. Oh yeah, stop playing defense soft. How hard is it? Tyler Harrison for 5. Dorfy, sorry I'm late. It's been a bad day. After my AM, then my kid gets sick. Then this BS lost. No matter what, go Vols. But Fama on to the next. Andrew Short says immediately running backward on 3rd and 2 is criminal. Ball's going to ball, says the Bama flea flicker that wasn't a flea flicker where he ran for a first down and said can't happen, get home. It's a play that Coach was just talking about. Sean Cross says here's 5 more for hoping McElroy is cast in the next Saw movie. Wow, that's brutal. Adrian Wells for 10. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Drop balls, timely penalties, defense not wrapping up, OC not going with what's working. Run the ball. Same things keep happening every game. Shaking my head. I agree with you, Adrian. I wish we would have got Bishop going more.
Yeah.
JG 80 for 2. Vandy's going to get to the Storm Neyland this year. Curtis Say says, since Tony V is out, can we just take his salary and buy an all-new secondary? Me and Foul Mink talked about that for about 40 minutes. Do you want to spend that Tony V money on the football team, or do you want to try to rebuild a national championship? Jeff Brooks for 2. It's the money. No heart, not hungry. Ball's been a member for a year. The schedule just got even more interesting. Dim Barnyard Bill says, why can't 5-star Mike and Miles catch the ball?
A lot of drops. There were a couple different drops. Let's not. Hey, I think you should 5-star kids catch the ball too. We had multiple drops in this game. Yeah. And before I forget to say it, because I don't want it to get lost in all this, it's easy to get lost in all this. Tennessee's got 2 damn fine young tight ends in Jack Van Dorselaer and Brame. And they are both going to be very, very good. I think that Van Dorselaer is already a very good player, and Brame just might be too quicker than we realized. And with that said, that's my little gleam of sunlight for y'all tonight.
You freaking Negavall, you're fired.
Negavall, sunshine pumper. I thought it was pumping.
the Deshaun Brame, same deal as Peyton Lewis at the end, right? He's playing like the game's on the line. Like if they score, they win the football game. I love that mindset. I just do. Vols Gonna Ball says this game made my VTSD. I think he means battered Vol syndrome or Vol. Okay, VTSD. I got you now. Not PTSD, VTSD. I got you, Vols Gonna Ball. Sean Cross says Joey learned to slide magically after getting murdered. Yeah, I don't think Joey was.
I think he was hurt.
Yeah,
I really do think he was hurt and trying to preserve his body. So I hope he's okay. I hope it's not going to be something lingering, because I do think he got a weird crick in his either upper back or neck, and that's a really dangerous thing. And you want it, I know it hurt to watch because there were plays where I felt like it hurt Tennessee tonight, but at the same time, it would hurt Tennessee more for Jake Merklinger to be the quarterback the rest of the season.
Let's come back. Let's revisit this conversation with Joey. Let me hit a couple of more super chats and we'll come back and talk about that. Randall Perry for 20. We appreciate you, my man. Devastated, Boogie. It's unfortunate because I still believe this team was good enough to win. The end of the half was too deep to come out of drop passes and no tackling. I agree, Randall. We appreciate you, buddy. Pecan for 5. I call staff out when needed, like Winky the Pooh. Bank of Tim America has to go, saying he has to go doesn't make me less of a Tennessee fan. No, it doesn't. That's perfectly fine. What makes you less of a Tennessee fan is saying you're an idiot if you think that Tim Banks has a shot. That's what makes you less of a Tennessee fan. That's all we ask, man. Voice those opinions, but just keep it civil. It shouldn't be that hard. And that's not you, Pecan. I'm just speaking in general here. Adam Lee for 5, the same ones saying don't criticize this team were the same ones who were angry for firing Pruitt too early. Criticism does not mean abandonment. Again, but you see how you word that?
It's
the
how
same
you criticize it.
Yes. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. Tonto says athletes should be paid on how well they perform on a game-by-game basis, not just thanks for coming to play. Here is your money. Well, the NFL is the same way. I don't think we're ever going to see that. Noah says, I'm convinced Kitzelman thinks he's playing volleyball. The way the ball hits him in the hands, he smack drops them the last 2 games. Orange Sea Line says, I think I'm out on Heupel. Coach McGee says, I hope Peyton Lewis can inspire the team with his attitude. Agree. Love the way he finished the game. Randall for another 10. I told you, Boogie, if Bama runs the ball for 200, we win. Our defense secondary stinks. Dylan for 5 says, I have so many personnel questions. Why is William Wright on the field down 10 in crunch time? It goes back to who's on the bench behind him, right? Who's on the bench behind him?
I was like, pick me. That's because some dude running around wearing number 2 who can't tackle people, who couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a bass fiddle, who couldn't cover a 10,000-pound hog walking down the street is the other safety. That's why, Dylan. And it's not ideal, but that's the reason why.
That's the problem is you're the guys behind them are either true freshmen or walk-ons. It's the same thing at linebacker. That's why, like, I get it. We're in year 5, but we still need depth. We've still not completely rebuilt this roster.
Not just depth. It comes down to execution.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that has plagued this team in times of, losing games. Is the best personnel on the field, or is the personnel on the field just not executing? And it's one of those things, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You've got guys on the field like Boo Carter, who is so talented, God-given, athletic abilities, but he's just kind of like, and you got guys just throwing shoulders at people instead of wrapping up. And it's at one, how do you answer that? Is this team just not executing the calls that the coaches are making? Are the coaches not making the right calls? It's such a give and take, because at the end of the day, you've got to balance both of those to win football games. And tonight, you saw poor coaching, you saw poor execution, and this is a team that, going on the road in the Southeastern Conference, you can't have both of those at the same time against a top 10 team and expect to come out on the right side of it.
Yeah.
All right, let me finish these super chats real quick. LeBronson James says, why are the corners playing 10 yards off the wide receivers? I question if Tim Banks is afraid of getting beat over the top. Nathaniel Hughes for 20. Appreciate the super chat. Heupel needs to learn to fire underperforming friends, a.k.a. his staff. Hopefully before it's too late. The D is so soft, a handful of iron couldn't help. Come on. Some of these players suck so bad they should have a rainbow uniform. Let me ask you this, though, Nathaniel. Let me ask you this. And I'm just giving you some food for thought here because you're saying he needs to fire underperforming friends. Do you know how many people wanted to fire Glenn Ellerbe, right? And everybody accused Heupel of that being his buddy and he was too loyal. What's been a strength of this football team? I know the offensive line struggled some tonight. What's been the strength of this football team through the first half? It's been the offensive line. People wanted to fire Joey Halsley last year because we saw Tim Banks have a top 10 defense and the offense couldn't get out of their own way. Every week we're saying, well, if they could just clean this up, if they could just clean that up, if Nico puts the ball on the money, if the receivers just catch it, if the offensive line, every little thing. And now Joey Halsley, what if we had fired him? This team's leading the country in scoring offense. You see what I'm saying? Like a little food for thought there. I get it. We can overreact after one game. Not mortal for 5, Tennessee drive script. First down, wide receiver screen. Second down, behind schedule run. Third and long, throw over the middle or come back, punt or repeat. Or lead the country in scoring offense. Again, Derek Sanders for 5. Y'all say it's a 5-year rebuild, but Cignetti can improve Indiana in 2 years. I don't cover Indiana. I have no idea what their roster looks like.
Heupel improved us in that amount of time. He had us ranked number 1 in that amount of time, which the Indiana coach has not. We've been to the exact same place. We both got ran in the playoffs last year. What's the difference between us and Indiana right now? They're both succeeding. I don't get the difference in the two coaches. If you think you want to look at a coach that hasn't rebuilt something, go talk to a Florida fan. That they'll tell you exactly what a coach who hasn't rebuilt something looks like.
I mean, I think that's the thing, and I get it because we're trying to get to that next level, right? Yeah. We're averaging 10 wins a year the last 3 years. Like you're right there. You're right there to being elite, and you want to take that next step. But when you start talking about burning it down and firing all these people, that's a reset. You're starting to reset and rebuild. Chex Mix says, "Am I crazy? Was there a lot of uncalled holding on Bama?" Yeah, I was going nuts. We created a Patreon live chat, in-game chat, which was a lot of fun today. Shout out to everybody that jumped in that. Yeah, it was exhausting. How does cornerback have detrimental injuries and still have 2 startable studs? Then there's a safety where we have such a talent gap. We have to start a walk-on. It's a good talking point. Sean Cross for 5, Georgia 2003, scoop and score before the half. Thanks, Sean, for making us relive that. Peyton says defense had a scoop and score if they didn't smack it around in the third. I don't think we scored on that drive. I agree. Why did they not pick it up? I think they just thought it was an incomplete pass. No excuse. Coach Jay, when we were in zone, why does it feel like we run to a spot and wait till the throw is made before we break to the ball? You think it's coaching?
Yep. You know how I feel. You need to maintain wherever you are with physicality, with violence, with eyes, with quick feet. And that goes for if you're a linebacker walling someone off or a cornerback sitting in underneath zone coverage. You need to play violently and you need to play fast and you need to keep moving. There was a ball that was thrown tonight. T-Lander was looking at the other end zone. Literally. Looking this way. Ball. Whoop!
I thought he was in man coverage, so they showed the replay.
Yeah, that's coaching.
I got 2 more, then we're going to talk about Joey Aguilar. Cletus for 5 says, laugh out loud. Dauber's so tore up, he can't get it out. I'm right there with you, buddy. Too many emotions. Then Barnyard Bills for 5 says, Joey has been a spark quarterback. Who is next year? George McIntyre, Jake Merklinger. When you look at talent, gunslinger mentality, hoping hype doesn't pick seniority just because. I think George McIntyre is going to win that job hands down next year. That's just my opinion. There's
a quarterback out here in Pasadena who's won 3 games in a row who might be in the transfer portal next
Y'all want me to kick him off the show now or later? You may kick him out now.
I'm sorry, my bad. I'll kick myself out.
Let's come back and talk about Joey Aguilar. Finish the day.
If that's the only sunshine we got, we're hurting. Jesus.
28 of 44, 268 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He got how many times did he get sacked today? Was it 4? For whatever reason, the ESPN box score doesn't have defensive stats on it, but I know at one point it was 4. Offensive line struggled tonight at times. That was a disappointment. Dustin I think he was definitely hurt. I think it was clear that he was hurt when you saw him go back out and slide. We've not seen him do that. There was the third down play where they marked him short initially, but then they gave it to him. And I think 99% of the time he's lowering his head and hitting somebody. Joey was not 100% in this game, but how do you think he handled the road environment? He's obviously struggled at times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where to shift the blame towards him at times or to, the drop passes. I think his performance is kind of a culmination of this game as a whole. And I'm sorry, I'm such a big picture dude, but it's like he played okay, except for the 2 huge mistakes at the worst possible times, and then you could say the same thing with the defense. Like, you had plenty of opportunities to get off the field at 3rd and forever. You don't, you have a penalty or you let somebody break wide open. So, I don't, I mean, we had more passing yards than them. So it's like, did he really play that bad? I hope that he's okay moving forward. That's for sure. But I don't know that I could point the arrow towards him. It wasn't his best game. I will say, back to the play calling situation, like, again, no expert by any means, but where was the razzle dazzle that we saw in the first 2 or 3 games? I didn't see nearly as much of that. Maybe they were, again, playing conservative on that side of the ball, which doesn't seem to help us. But aside from that, I thought we could have, leaned on the run game a lot more. But man, that safety and that pick 6 is really, it was the clear mistakes at the absolute worst time. And I think that was kind of the story of the night over and over again on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. I shout out Foul. Me and Foul had a little side discussion going. It's tough because sometimes the thing you want really, really bad is a really, really calm quarterback. And I think we were also grateful to have one after Nico's clock felt very sped up last year as a freshman and with the O-line issues that we had. But I thought at times Joey was too calm and took a little too long to make a decision tonight. And usually that doesn't get him into trouble. But Bama runs a lot of shifty stuff in the backfield with their secondary. And sometimes it takes just that extra moment to decipher. And Joey's so calm that he'll give that to you. And that got him into a little bit of trouble tonight when we were pinned. The pick, I can speak to that, my opinion of that really quick. It's funny not to get back on Tim Banks while I'm talking about Joey here, but it's funny. Bama runs an underneath press coverage on that play, gets pick 6. I think it was Bama's first or second score. They hit that play on the edge against Redmond, and Redmond's playing back just in like a soft cloud right there, a little corner cloud, a 3-yard cloud. And, I didn't like the play call by Halsey. I didn't like getting bunched up. I thought the announcer was on time when he talked about that and it being a play call, a bad play call. With that said, Joey had no business throwing that ball. It was a bad throw and an ill-advised decision. 2 things can be true.
Do you not think if he threw it to the outside? I know McElroy kind of harped on that.
Well, what I was going to say is, I was going to say, and it's in my notes, if you're going to throw that ball, throw it outside and low, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Like if you're going to throw that, miss outside. Don't hang your slider, right, Dauber? If you're going to miss on the slider, miss outside and low.
What you
to
all
be-
think of that
right.
that drive though, that series, right? Because
Great
I mean that
drive,
was a
yeah,
big boy
yeah.
drive. I forget how many plays it was, but you marched
Yeah.
right down the field. I thought they managed the clock well. You had a 3rd and 1, you run Bishop, you take a timeout, you got a 1st and goal from the 2. Dauber, you got 13 seconds. You got a timeout in your back pocket. And again, we're talking in that Patreon chat. It was a lot of fun. It's like a chat room. It's live interaction. And I'm saying, run the football here. You got a timeout in your back pocket. Run the football, and then you've got that timeout if you need to use it, and then you can still take a couple of shots in the end zone. Now, I'm also second guessing myself and saying, do you just live with the run? Because you got 9 seconds. You run the football and you don't get in.
I wanted the field goal.
Yeah,
you're done.
That's where I was at. That's where I was at. Because I mean, it's like if you can't punch it in, running it 3 times, like you weren't meant to get it. And like you said, either you don't throw that ball at all, or it has to be an NFL throw at the pylon. Like there's no. He didn't see. I think he just assumed, and this was the mistake. He assumed it would be there, and I knew that would play. I mean, I figured that if they were going to throw it right there, that's exactly what they would call. So it was a little dump out to the flat there. And if I think it's predictable, then Alabama did.
Yes, sir. I said to my brother-in-law, I said, we're throwing the ball right here because we're out of timeouts. We're not going to run it. I said, but do we double down because we think that they think that we know that we're not going to run it, that we're going to throw it? Should we just run it? He said, no, they're going to throw it. I said, yeah, you're probably right. And then that's what we do. So, and McElroy called it. He said that inside coverage, they're sitting on, they know Tennessee has no timeouts. They are going to throw the ball. And he totally just sat and played. His eyes were on Aguilar, and that's all he was watching because he was not worried about the run at all.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, go ahead, Robert.
I mean that's just one of those things. It's that chess game, that cat and mouse game. Did we get out coached right there?
Did you get too cute right there? Like if you're going to throw it,
right,
and everybody knows you're going to throw it, spread them out. Like my call was roll Joey out and give him a run pass option and tell him if nobody's open, throw it into the 14th row and we'll kick the field goal like Coach Jay said. That was my play call there. I'm just too worried with running the football. You run the football there and you get stuffed, you're not getting any points either because your timeout's gone.
I said line up heavy like they did, and you roll naked bootleg a la Peyton Manning walking into the end zone, probably that same end zone in what was it, 96, 97?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Naked bootleg walking into the end zone.
96. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if and buts, candy and nuts. We're all armchair quarterbacks.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you, Dauber, but like I liked the blue balls of stacking it up there twice, and then we did this, and we went under center at that freaking 4th and 1 that we didn't get. But that's the point. It's like if you can't line up, if they I don't know if it's just something they maybe not practice as much, but it just felt like as soon as we lined up in that formation all night long, even at the very end of the freaking game, there was dudes in the backfield.
Yeah,
right
I did notice something, and I do want to bring it up because I think it's interesting anyway. When David Sanders was on the offensive line instead of Sham, and I've been a big proponent of Sham, I think he earned the right to start tonight, and that he's been earning the right to start for most of the year. I know he's had 1 or 2 bad moments, but they've been outweighed by great moments by Sham today. But until today, but Sham struggled in short yardage situations today in his blocking, and he struggled at multiple different moments. And when we put David on that edge and slide Perry inside, it looked much, much better. It's when we trotted into the end zone in the middle. And gosh dang it, we got a good one with David Sanders. I mean, the play where they thought it was offensive holding on Dave because the defense of linemen swing loops him in. to get by him, and David's got the wherewithal to just let go of him and lean on him. That's like Jonathan Ogden NFL stuff you can't teach. That's just, I mean, you can teach it, but it's just, as young as he is, it's instinct. And there you go. I'll give out my 3rd star next to Brame and Van Doorslayer for
something I thought
David
was
Sanders.
worth noting. And I heard this on VolQuest sometime throughout the course of the week. When we questioned last week, right, was Dave going to start and were you going to slide Perry inside? They brought up the fact that Perry was out the week before the bye week, right? He was dealing with an ankle. Sam was dealing with an ankle. Neither one of those guys practiced for that full week. And they said that Perry didn't get enough snaps on the inside. It was more about that than it was whether or not Dave was ready. They want Jesse Perry to have a time to adjust to moving back inside, getting more snaps at guard. It'll be worth keeping an eye on that for next week to see what happens. Dustin, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was going to throw it back up to you because I don't know what y'all thought, but this is the most I've seen them rotate the offensive line in 5 years of Josh Heupel during a game. That is, I feel like there was musical chairs there a lot. So I don't know which combination kind of hit in the run game there in the second half, but the difference between being able to run the football in the second half, I thought things were going to start to open up for us, and then again, you're still having those freaking plays where I forget what drive it is. I think it was the one after we scored, but the next time we had the ball, we were marching down the field, had a little bit of momentum, had the bad snap that goes rolling. And it's just things like that all night long, that just some continuity issues. And it felt like every time we had the momentum or got a turnover, it was almost a moot point because it would just it would go nowhere. And that's happened a couple of times the last games where we really could have, finished these things off in a much better way. And we didn't.
I wish we would have. It felt, and again, it's so hard to come on here live after and recall. Like you talking about the offensive line, I don't think I could tell you what the offensive lineup looked like when we were having success running the football versus not. I don't think I'm paying enough attention to that on the first watch. You know what I mean? But it felt like we weren't really committing to the run game, and I don't know if that's just the way the game played out, but. Again, give Deshaun Bishop his flowers, man. I'm not giving up on Star Thomas, and I love the way that Peyton Lewis played down the stretch. Deshaun Bishop's a dude, and if you can't love that story of a kid that grew up in the state of Tennessee and he chose to come to Tennessee as a walk-on because he would rather do that than be on scholarship at App State or be on scholarship at Coastal Carolina. He walked on at Tennessee, and now he's making plays against Alabama. Like his play after the defense got that 3 and out to start the second half, and then him busting it for 44 yards. That kid is a dude, man. Finished the day 14 carries, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I wish we got him going earlier. I wish we would have really, and that's hard to say because, Coach, we were kind of on the same page earlier in the year. We're saying we need to get Star Thomas going early, and now it's Deshaun Bishop who kind of has the hot hand.
They're all talented. I mean, I thought all 3 of them had their moments tonight. Bishop, obviously, some special moves, and yeah, that was when you had Sanders and Perry pulling inside, if I'm not mistaken, there on a couple of those tight counters, maybe a tight end pulling in a couple of those. But Bishop is a dude, man. Like, there's a comment I always write because it's something my coach growing up always said, who I've been fortunate enough to work with a little bit later in life. But in film, he'd stop the film and go, if you made a really good play, be like, dang it, Coach Jay, you are a MFer. You are a MFer. And like Bishop and Big writing multiple times on this. Bishop, you are an MFer in my notes. Like, and he is like, he is, and I think they're all 3 good, man. I don't know how else to put that. I thought Star played well. I thought Peyton Lewis played great. I still don't like throwing to other running backs not named Star Thomas. Just seems like he's better suited to it. I know Peyton had that drop. I thought checkoffs were open a lot tonight, and we should have hit them a little more. I thought we could have done a little better extending our running game. It's like we tried to do it with the throwing to the edges, but I thought we could have just done it with simple checkdowns, just simple, running backs leaking out to the flat, running backs running Texas routes, things like that. Yeah, man. But the running game is something that we need to continue to develop, and it will help us, keep the passing game humming, if you will. Keep them not too on top of what we're doing. I don't want to quit on this team, dude. I still think this team can win out. I could see them losing multiple games after this. Sure. If they want to capitalize on more of these deficiencies. But I think we got the number one offense in the country still. I think it just wasn't clicking tonight, and we made mistakes that beat ourselves. You're not going to play perfect every game. But I don't want to quit. I think this team could go out there and win games. I just want the defense to get that eye of the tiger back, man, and play vicious.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. I do want to real quick say we still have over 800 people watching live, and we're an hour and 15 minutes into this thing. We appreciate you guys choosing us for the post-game show, for the fans, by the fans, whether you agree with us, disagree with us. I always just say, man, just understand that we're no different than you guys. We're just fans coming on here giving our opinions. And maybe sometimes it's like, man, why is Boogie screaming at us? Maybe I'm not screaming at you, but there may be those small vocal minorities that are taking their frustrations out on me or Coach or Dauber or Dustin or whoever. And that's why I said, just keep it civil, man. We can disagree. We can agree. That's the beauty of this community that we've built. So even if you agree or disagree with us, hit the thumbs up. It's down there below the video. It's quick, free, and easy. It helps the channel. Smash the thumbs up. If you're hanging out still in the chat, 800 people still watching live, it does help what we're doing. Also, go check out our merchandise. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is always in the description below. If you forget it, want to go grab some Talkin VAWLS merchandise, you can do it there. We created a new tier on the Patreon group. You can go to Patreon. There's a link in the description below. We had a game day chat. It's basically like a chat room. Everybody at that tier has access to it. And we talked throughout the course of the entire game, when we were mad, when we were frustrated, when we were cheering for this team. It was a lot of fun, man. I wasn't sure how it would go. And you guys brought it. It was a lot of fun. You want to be a part of that next week for the Kentucky game, hit that link to join the Patreon. We would appreciate it. You can also join the channel. It's $1. Hit the join button down below. It helps keep the lights on around here. It helps keep us bringing you content every single day of the year for Tennessee Vols football. We appreciate you guys. Let me catch back up with you guys in the chat real quick. Nathaniel Hughes for 10 says, with the games we played this year, some of the coaching decisions have been just as bad as some of the poor players. Coach Heupel gets a pass. Need to look at the defensive coordinator, though. Abby Bulliner drops $2. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. We appreciate that, Abby. Coach McGee says, I have related to this team to my golf game, sparks of greatness, followed by mediocrity. But guess what, Coach McGee? The sparks of greatness keep you coming back every single week. Just hoping you can find that magic in a bottle, that lightning in a bottle. Dustin Hill drops $1. We appreciate you, Dustin. Cletus for 5 says, Coach Hype just said it's on him to get his players and coaches on the same page, and it's on him in the press conference. That's what I want a coach to say. I love it. Michael for 2, every bad game we have, our run pass is like 10-90. I agree. And again, I need to go back, do the rewatch tomorrow morning. I'm going to drop the day after video. I want to rewatch and see, did we not commit to running the football? Or again, as I laid out, it feels like every drive we were shooting ourselves in the foot and really didn't have an opportunity to get the run game going. Another man says pass on first, option run on second, use the timeout if it doesn't work. Okay, he's talking about the drive before the half. Pass on first down, option run on second, use the timeout if it didn't work. Bama knew 100% we were passing on that down. That's why they took the turnover. I agree. Bama knew we were passing, but I'm still riding with it. If Joey makes a good throw, it's a touchdown. I swear. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll go back and rewatch it. If I'm wrong, I will tell you guys that I'm wrong. Luke Thompson for 2 says, love winning, hate losing more. Hope we bounce back. Me too, Luke. Me too. Zachariah Hayes for 50. That ain't cheap. We appreciate you, brother. They did not have to throw in at the end of the half. They could have punched it in and prevented this disaster. It goes back to you didn't have a timeout. So if you get stopped short, you're coming away with no points. You had 9 seconds, no timeouts. On the flip side of that, that's way better than a freaking pick six.
That's better than a 7-point swing.
But that's easy to hindsight's 20/20, right? It's easy to look back and say that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought the time management was good there at the end. And again, you had a 4th and 1, you had 41 seconds and 3 timeouts. Bishop picks up the first down. You try to take a quick shot in the end zone. Maybe there is where you could have maybe taken a timeout because they tried to go quick and it felt like a lot of time ran off right there. But you took a shot to the end zone. You run Bishop for 9. You got a 3rd and 1. Bishop gets 3, timeout, 1st and goal from the 2, 13 seconds left, and a timeout in the back pocket. You run Bishop and use that timeout. Maybe you throw it there, like Zachariah's saying. Maybe you throw it on that first down, still have the timeout in your back pocket. I don't know. Hindsight is always 20/20. You guys already know what I'm going to say, and people are going to say, oh, sunshine pumper. Oh, yeah, the sky's not falling. Everything's perfect. This team has every opportunity to go 10-2. They're going to be favored in every single game. We sell a shirt that says we're Kentucky's daddy because we're going to go on the road next week and we're going to beat Kentucky. And here's the thing. Is Vanderbilt playing good football? Yeah, they are. Yeah, they had another big win today. Vanderbilt is playing good football, but guess what? They got to come to Neyland Stadium. This team that beat us today in Tuscaloosa, they ain't won in Neyland Stadium the last 2 years. Josh Heupel has beat Alabama. He's beat Florida. So when Vanderbilt comes to town, I like Josh Heupel in Neyland Stadium against anybody not named Georgia. So, yeah, when Oklahoma comes to town, can we lose that game? Sure. I like Josh Heupel in Neyland Stadium. Can we lose to Vanderbilt when they come to town? Sure. But I like Josh Heupel in Neyland Stadium. The big one everybody's going to be talking about is going to the Swamp and winning. Dustin, how do you see this team finishing this thing out? And I get it. We can say, well, you could go 10-2 or you could go 8-4. Of course they could. But how do you see this thing finishing out?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. We say that it seems like every year in the SEC because everybody just like beats up on each other. And it's even more true this year. And I think across college football in general, it's just the playing field is getting even more level. And I think we saw that tonight. I don't think it was a disparaging talent gap like we've seen over the years. We've proven that by beating them the last, 2 out of 3 years. It's a little bit of the away woes that worry me. We've got to get this Florida monkey off our back. I cannot stand Florida more than any team on the planet. We've had opportunities in the past where we should have beaten them down there. We've lost that game every possible way you could think of. So that one sticks out. Obviously, Vanderbilt's not a gimme. We could have given that game away last year at the start of that game. So I don't know if I have a prediction quite yet, but I'm confident. I'm confident because at some point I was really hoping that we would play our best game today. That did not happen. And I'm still waiting on that. Like you say on your intros and all that stuff, it's never going to be perfect, but when it's so bad against yourself, it's hard to beat a good team like this. And we've talked about that in other games like Mississippi State game, the way we started that game out. And so I think if we can just clean up things and get back to like being less conservative, both on offense and defense, we'll be fine.
Dauber, any final thoughts on how we finish this thing out?
So I think our toughest games left this season are Kentucky on the road and Vanderbilt at home. I think Oklahoma, because it's at home, you can't go into Lexington next week with a hangover from this game. You have to take care of business on the road and do something that Josh Heupel has struggled to do, is win on the road. And I know we've debunked that narrative. And Josh Heupel is statistically he gets it done on the road. But it's a big game. And you saw the Texas-Kentucky game today, going to overtime, all of that. You've got to get things done. You've got to be better than you were today on the road next week in Lexington. And then I think Oklahoma is going to be tough in Neyland, but it's in Neyland. That's the thing. I think you play tonight's game in Neyland, I think it's a completely different story. Honestly, and that's without the orange glasses on. That's without the bias. I think this team plays better in Knoxville than they do on the road, and that's from a coaching perspective and an execution perspective. Top to bottom. Who knows what the game in Gainesville is gonna look like? Is Napier still around? I mean that's a question. What does that Florida team have left to play? I really think this season, how many of you would have had it on your bingo card for closing out the year against Vandy as what could determine a playoff spot? I mean, that's wow. What has college football come to? To think about that. The closing out the season, a game against little brother in Neyland, and that could be what determines one of the last playoff spots for this season. I like our chances. I think this team can, if they execute, if from top to bottom, from coaching to play, the play calling, the execution, if they get it done, this team can finish out 10-2. And I have no doubts about that. But, could they drop another one or even 2-3 of these games? Absolutely. If they play with the, mentality, scared mentality, the lack of execution, yeah, that is absolutely possible. But, you take care of business on the road. I think you get past Kentucky and Oklahoma. I think we're winning on the road in Gainesville. And I think there is a big game against little brother down the road in Nashville that is going to be happening November 29th against Vandy.
Let me hit these real quick, Coach, and then you can tie a bow on it for us. Checkerboard overalls for 20. We appreciate you, brother. 2 plays to change it all. 3rd and 13 on Bama's first drive on their goal line, and the pick 6 lost the pivotal plays. Man, I had that 3rd and 13 in my notes, and then it's almost like it just got lost as the way the game played out. BTSH for 20. Can we throw some change-ups in the game instead of repeating? It kills me. Defense played best they could. We are so predictable right now. Good teams Good teams, EST is every game. What did I miss? Good team. Shout out BTSH. We appreciate you. X Factor is here for 5. I say we go 10-2, but you have to win out now. Still worried about the Gators. Can't stand them, but we need a game plan to go down and win. Coach, tie a big fat bow on this thing for us. You're muted. I mean, that's one way to do it. Hey, Coach, what's your shirt say? Look at that. That's one way to do it. I should just play the outro. I should just play the outro.
No, whoa, dang it, Bookie. Look, not what we wanted, right? Like not dang what we wanted at all. But goals are still in front of you for this season, and it's what a good coaching staff will push and fight for it. And we're about to get a gut check for that, right? It's a road game. But I'll tell you what, just a quick little sneak preview here. Kentucky's lost 5 games this year now, right? They got nothing to play for but upsetting us, really, next week. Texas has struggled. They just got their heart broke by them. So it's a bit of a gut check game, right? Like, what are these teams going to look like coming into this game? Can we come in sharp? Can we come in as the aggressor? Can we come in as that number 1 offense kicking down the scoreboard and scoring at will? And can the defense play hard? I think they can, and I think we can be Kentucky's daddy again. If we can do that, it's not Coach Jay, but it's the next best thing. Coach Jay's son's going to the Oklahoma game, and he's also undefeated in Neyland Stadium. Not quite as good of a record, but 4-0 nevertheless. So we'll take it. We'll take it, and I think we can get the Oklahoma game. I think it's one of those tight games as well. Venables knows hype a little, has the defense, but I just think we're going to be able to get more done at home. I think we're just a better home team, and Oklahoma's a far worse road team than they are home team, as they've shown in the past. And if we can do that, we'll get by the other game. What Florida team do we get? Do we get a fired Billy Napier team? They've got Georgia between us and them, Ole Miss between us and them. What do they look like at that point in time? If they looked like the scrubbed out walk-ons playing team that beat Mississippi State somehow today, then I like our chances a lot in the Swamp. I do. I don't care. We're a lot better team than Mississippi State. I know we played down to their level, but I see us beating Florida if I won't even say if. I just think we're a better team than them. And I know it's been a tough game, but I think we get over that hump this year. The Vanderbilt game is going to be really tough, but it's winnable. And we can win it. We're big brother. They're going to have to get over the hump. It's going to be a war that they can win, that Vanderbilt can win, but I think we can come through with it. None of this happens if we don't learn from our mistakes, find a way to get better, bite down, and play as hard as we damn can for that power tee the rest of the way out, because the home field's going to matter very, very much. I think Joey's good enough to get us a tough one at the Swamp, and if we can hold home field, we've got a chance at making it in the playoffs. We'll see. We'll see. We're going to have to fix some deficiencies to do so.
Look, I get it, man. Everybody's mad. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's pissed off, and that's because we all bleed orange. We all love Tennessee football. We all want the best for Tennessee. We all have passionate opinions, right? We're all passionate people. We love the Vols, and when things don't go our way, it sucks. And we come here and we talk about it, and we appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with us again. If you haven't smashed the thumbs up, smash it on the way out the door. We would appreciate that support. If you like what we do, hang around, man. Subscribe to the channel. It's for the fans, by the fans. Again, we're no different than you guys in the chat. We're not media people. We're not we get on here and we talk Tennessee football because we're Tennessee fans just like you guys are. I will ask you on the way out the door to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, where were you on this team before the season started? And if you're sitting here going, Josh Heupel's not the guy, screw Josh Heupel, we need to fire him, we need to move on, and it's okay to have your opinions. That's perfectly fine. But I ask you to be honest with yourself. And in the preseason, were you going, man, we got Nico on the way out the door, Joey Aguilar's coming in. He played at App State. He sucked. He threw all these interceptions. Guess who got Joey Aguilar ready to go play football this year? Josh Heupel. That's who got him ready. Joey Halsley. That's who got him ready. So you can't just credit Joey. It's part of the coaching staff too. And if you were sitting there going, this team's going 8-4, they're going 7-5. This team's going to suck. And now here we sit, and you may still think they're going 8-4, 7-5. That's what you thought. You're getting what you thought. But this team still has everything in front of them. I'm going to ride with this team until I don't have a choice but to not ride with them. So I think they take care of business the rest of the way. Nathaniel Hughes for 5 says we have no business in the playoffs. That is an embarrassment waiting to happen. Coaches need to improve. So does the D. Does Alabama? Does Alabama belong in the playoff? They lost to Florida State. Does Oklahoma belong in the playoff the way they played against Texas? Does Texas belong in the playoff the way they played against Kentucky? You can argue it with every single team in the SEC. Every single team. It is what it is. I'm going to go take a nap. I'm going to take about a 2-hour nap, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to make the day after video bright and early. I'm going to try to push some emotions out of the way and talk about this football game bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll be right back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time for the Fan Call-In Show. That's where you guys get to come on the channel. You disagree with me, you disagree with Coach Jay, you want to come on and talk about it, come on and talk about it. Just be civil. That's all that we ask. Me and Coach Jay are going to do a rewatch, and we're going to kind of talk about that for 20, 25 minutes, something like that. And then we're going to bring you guys on one at a time, and we're going to let you guys talk about this game. But that is going to do it for this one. For Coach Jay, for Dustin, for Dauber, my name's Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big One.
Come on.
That we call